6:49 now, and here's what more and more home sellers have been going through lately. They agreed to a price, a closing time, a place, and the type of financing the buyer is using. With us now is our real estate expert to talk more about this, Rick Sadle. You know, what we described just a moment ago, Rick, agreement on price, closing, financing, it sounds like a done deal, so no more negotiating then, right?
Right. Well, you would think so, right? The seller spends all his time and energy getting his place ready to sell. They get it on the market, they get an offer right away, and they get excited because they think they're moving. But unfortunately, that could just be the beginning of negotiations.
What are some of the surprises that sellers should expect, even when they think they have a deal?
Well, you know, in this super competitive market that we're in right now, buyers are using lots of strategies to try and make sure that theirs is the one that gets accepted by the seller, right? So they're offering maybe over asking price, but then hoping that there's some, real or imagined repairs that come up during the inspection period and asking for a chunk of change off during that period, or hoping that the appraisal comes in low and then they get an opportunity to renegotiate the price with the seller during that period. Those are a couple of things that are happening right now.
Does this often result when sellers don't do their homework?
Well, I don't want to blame it on the sellers because it's not their job. It's not their full-time job to understand how this process goes. A little bit it is because they're not asking enough questions, but really the agents aren't explaining all the possibilities to the sellers, at least in my opinion. One of the tactics that we're using when we get multiple offers is we suggest for our client accept one of the other ones and back up so that if this, inspection strategy comes up that they can just move on to another buyer, or get it in writing that if the appraisal comes in lower than expected, that the buyer agrees to raise their price or pay the difference rather. So those kinds of things, as long as you're looking at them in advance and you can mitigate some of these things.
I remember when I was buying my house, one of the sticking points was there was a giant wasp's nest in the back, and we were both going back and forth like, you remove it, no, you remove it. But, we figured it out. But have you seen these deals die because of these last-minute demands from buyers that may not be monumental?
Well, yes, we've seen things die over tiny little things, but some of these things are big. We just had a deal where the buyer made an over-asking price offer, and then during the inspection period came up with some kind of funny little things, but they asked for a giant chunk of change off the price. Luckily, we had accepted another offer and backup, so my client said, no, thanks, we're not going to do it, and they just moved on to the other buyer. So, yeah, they can die over these little things.
All right, we'll check in with you down the road, Rick. Thank you.
Thanks.
Rick Sadle's with Keller Williams Realty and SadleRealestate.com.